Well, here we are then, the penultimate round of the IGTL season. We're here at the race in Suzuka. Going into this race, Stig holds a 14-point advantage over Brownie in the championship. Also, Melon just 1 point behind behind Robbo, and Frosty just 3 behind Alex of Delage. Things could be getting very interesting up and down the field. So then it was SDM who takes pole position with Ash Vinny alongside Stiggly Rob has had pole for the previous 2 occasions. It's lights out, away we go to clean start from everyone off the front row. Where does Stig come? We know Stig usually gets good starts, but is he enough to get himself higher up the order? Everyone's just following around, going into this first corner now. So it's round, they all go around now, just trying to just keep it clean. There's a little bit of pushing and shoving just toward the back. There's Brownie trying to find his way through, and Tay going 3 wide with Helgest and Squeakers. Helgest has made his way in front. Squeakers sort of cutting the corner there, and now is there a bit of contact with Frosty? Yes, there is. There's contact with Frosty, and Squeakers is off into the gravel jump. Ash Vinny's also ended up at the back, so I think he's had off somewhere. I think Frosty waiting for me. Doesn't look to be slowing down too much. Either way, Rezte's ended up behind Helgest, which could prove crucial. There is like just I think 20 points is there or something like that separating these two for third place in the Drivers' Championship. Brownie, one of the championship rivals, Chrissy's ended up in third, and Stig does end up in the lead over this race, just ahead of the American STM RRDZ, who's only starting his second ever appearance here in the IGTL. Crazy's just back in the background there, just hanging around in third. Can he wait for an opportunity to move up the order anymore? There's Brownie just up in the distance. He's been chased down by Racer Tay, who's managed to make his way past Helgest, and SDM pulls over to the outside. He pulls over to the outside. It's not quite enough. He's not quite got in front going through Spoon. You don't really want to make an overtake round the outside of Spoon. However, that's left SDM vulnerable to Crazy, who's going to come charging down the straight, on the back straight, heading into 130R. This is going to be interesting now, as Chris Butt is going to launch himself through into 130R. He's not going to pull himself down. I think SDM's right on the back of Stig, just up in front. Ashwin has ended up toward the back. Extra Frosty also at the back. Melon there on the back of his title rival. 1 point separates these two, and Melon goes down the inside into the triangle. Melon has to have gone off. He's gone off. He has. And as he's rejoined, he's had a bit of a spin. He's had an incident. Ashwin has also gone off trying to avoid Melon. Don't think there was anything wrong there. Melon went off. I think he just outbraked himself, making a move, and he's on the grass. He's on the grass and the gravel, and Melon, he's done a 360. He's done a Charles Leclerc, just not as good. That's frustrating for Melon. And here comes Vidro 28. Then he's up in his 7th. Next car in front of him is Helgest. Vidro 28 has had a different season to that of his previous one. He struggled a lot in the Citroen. Here's SDM in the Dodge Viper. He's holding off against Racer 2, who we have fitted with helmet cam today. He's Racer Tay. Crazy, he's going vulnerable on Brownie. Brownie makes the move. Brownie's going, not Brownie, sorry, but he's going. Crazy's going very slow, and there they go. Crazy drops all the way back from 2nd to 5th. Racer Tay still holding on. He can see Steak, he can see Brownie, he can see SDM, but can he make anything of it? He pulls over to the inside, does he? SDM holding the inside for the hairpin. Now the hairpin is a suitable overtaking place if you can get your car enough alongside. Tay hasn't. Crazy's going to look to switch back though on Racer Tay. Has he done it? Not quite, because he didn't quite get the exit. He got a little bit squirmy coming on the power coming out of that hairpin, and that has cost him time, and he's now dropped ever so slightly back. In this race, there comes Brownie in the run into Spoon. Brownie on the outside. It's not enough there to get past Stig. Stig can't. He's not going to sit and let his title rival go idly by. Here comes SDM. He's flying around in 30s, having good pace around Suzuka. However, ST is going to pull over to the inside. Is Brownie also pulling over to the inside on the straight, going down into 130R? Does he make the overtake into 130R? No, he doesn't. Makes the move stick, and there it is. He goes around into 130R. Easy move there. And now Stig's coming vulnerable from SDM, who tries to go around the outside. However, with Brownie there, he's not much he can do. And then there's a bit of pushing and shoving. Stig goes off. Stig goes off. And SDM also goes off, and Crazy goes off. SDM just loses the position, and Tay moves up 1. And then Stig's dropped now behind Helgest, but Crazy's dropped behind BW 28, and maybe dropping behind Frosty as well, going on to the main straight. You can see them all, the top 9 drivers, I think that is, on one shot. And there is Crazy, who's dropped into 8th place. He was looking in such a strong position. That will be surely frustrating for him. Helgast then, he's in 4th. 3rd is SDM. Brownie's up into second now as Racer Tay takes the lead of the race. Racer Tay was probably robbed of a victory here last season when he had to clear that in-game penalty. On the last lap he was leading, and then Luckman slowed through to take the victory. Luckman's not in this race, not yet. This race was also the last race of the season. This time it is the penultimate round of the season, and now BG28 fending off Extra Frosty. These two have come wheel to wheel on track quite often over the course of this season. Helgas is fending off against Stig v Rob with championship leader going into this race. Brownie's having a look on Racer Tay, I believe. We just saw him moving over. Extra Frosty pulls over to the inside of this little king, which then switches to the outside, going into the air, and Crazy sends it down the inside of Robbo. Robbo has to not be able to turn in. Frosty looked to have a snap in. Crazy's ended up at the back, so a sort of dive bomb has not worked on either driver, and none of them have made their way through the position there. So, Racer Tay in the lead. Stig and Crazy are under investigation. Not too sure what that incident is. I'm sure we might get a replay at some point. So yeah, Stig and Crazy Buttocks are under investigation, and this might be the incident. Is Stig now goes off here coming out the exit chicane. Oh, there. So yep, there's definitely the incident. Stig goes off the track at the chicane as he rejoins. He hits Crazy. He gets attacked by him, and now Robbo going side by side with Extra Frosty. Now, if you remember last season, he tried to go down the inside of two people at 130R. They both ended wrong. He sticks it back in the inside. He backs off of that one. He's learned since then. He's decided that's not a good idea. Doesn't want to make it work, and then tries to go down the inside of Extra Frosty going into the chicane, and it looks like he might have just made the work done. Only not, because he's ghosted, and so Frosty can just cut back straight through him. And there we go. And Frosty remained in that position. So a decent attempt at an overtake from BG28. Didn't quite work for him though, as Brownie SV tried to have a look down the inside of SDM. We can see Crazy moved over to the inside to try and get a move on BG28. Robbo looked as though he was about to move over on Frosty. Crazy also looked like he was about to move in on Robbo. Robbo didn't move on Frosty in the end and stayed in his position. So they're all looking like they might make some overtakes. Some of the key overtaking points. There's really, realistically, 3 real overtakings, and Robbo's off. Robbo is off and on the gravel, and he's spun. He has spun his car round, and that's not good. He's just, I think, gone wide going through the S's there, and he's got on the gravel as he's trying to regain on the track. He's got gravel on his tyres and spun the car around, and now he's dropped straight to the back. That must surely be irritating for Robbo. He was in such a good position, he was in such a good fight, and it's all looking over now. I don't think we've heard out yet as of the incident between Stig and Crazy, but the penalties that the stewards can give out can deduce penalty points. Crazy does overtake Helgast around the outside there. Been nice and simple overtake. Helgast looking to drop back, and now can Helgast find a way past Crazy now. Extra Frosty's running away in 5th, 6th and 7th for these two. 8th place Ash Vinny in the Aston Martin's just hanging around in the background waiting for an opportunity to strike on number 765 and number 18. Here then is Brownie SV on the back of SDM, the American, in his second ever appearance, and he's really looking on pace here today. In Suzuka, does he go around the outside? Does Brownie try to go around the outside? Yes, he does. He thinks he's Alonso and can go around the outside of 130R, and then he realises he's not Alonso and drifts off wide, and that didn't work. It would have been a cool overtake and would have been phenomenal if it worked, but unfortunately it did not. Stig is there in 4th. SDM in the pits, Racer Tay in the pits, race leader Tay comes into the pits. SDM in the pits, Brownie SV and Stig v Rob go wheel to wheel, nose to tail, coming down the main straight now. Is Stig in the position to pull over to the inside or the outside? He has a look around the outside. Here comes Stig v Rob around the outside. It's not enough there. Brownie defends against his title rival. There's contact. Stig hits Brownie. Brownie goes off on a spinning fit. Extra Frosty slides past them both. As soon as that happens, Stig gets a 3-point deduction for his incident with Crazy, and he's under investigation for another incident with Stig and Helga. So he's really not looking in best of shape at the moment. He's struggling to not get under investigation, and that is seemingly costing him. Brownie SV, here he comes now. He runs in 4th place. Stig v Rob, he's in 5th. 6th place now is Ash Vinny, but it doesn't look like Ash will be able to compete with these two very quick drivers. Are both going for it now. Brownie has just set the lap, fastest lap after fastest lap in the race, and Ash Vinny goes up on the gravel. So does Crazy, and that allows 2 cars to go up in front. Suzuka is such a punishing circuit. Here's Razor Tear. He now comes flying around stuck behind BG028. These two have gone wheel to wheel on multiple occasions this season. Most notably, the incident where they went side by side into the pit lane and somehow neither of them had collisions there, but Razor Tear not quite ahead of him on the hairpin, on the exit of the hairpin. No, BG028 goes a bit, oh, why is he going maybe a little too defensive into the hairpin, and Razor Tear slides past. They're not level on pace this time, unlike where they were at Monza and other races such as Maggiore. They're not quite the same. Now this must be the incident with Helgast. There's one hit, there's two hit. Helgast goes off. He's in the gravel trap. Short but sweet, and that was the incident with Helgast that's under investigation again from Stig v Rob. He's not having the best of times in this race. He's down in 5th place. Ash Vinny's in 6th. And Ash Vinny pulls over to the outside on the straight. Does he get him? They go side by side, banging wheels, and there he goes. Ash Vinny just slides past Stig v Rob. Very simple move for him. Brani into 3rd. 2nd is Long Live Helgast, and 1st place is Extra Frosty, who stays out for another lap. Long Live Helgast, does he come into the pits? Nope, Helgast not in. Brownie is in. Now Brownie's when you want to watch when it comes to strategy. Normally does really well when calling the right strategy. Stig matches his rival. Ash Vinny going slow. I think he's had a problem. He backs off going very slow there. I think he's just trying to get into the pit lane and not get in the way of everyone. So smart driving from Ash Vinny. Stig v Rob bunny hops his way in. Razor 28 trying to pick up what a little slipstream he can get from Razor Tear that far back to try and push himself further in the race. He just doesn't want to keep going. Although what a different season this has been. In this season he's been way more competitive and has been getting much more consistent results of 6th and 5th places over the course of this season. He's been picking up some points and it's working for him. He's doing well. Long Live Helgast up into 2nd, SDM into 3rd, Crazy in 4th, 5th is Razor Tear, 6th is BG28, 7th is Brownie, 8th is Stig, in 9th is Melon, who's had a very quiet race since he had an incident right at the start and spun round, and that's put him a long way out of contention after a brilliant battle in Maggiore with BG28 for championship position. He seems really nowhere, does Melon. That's really going to be annoying him because he wants these points in the championship. They all do. And new news from the steward's office. It's an even more severe penalty. Have the stewards been a little too strict? But it's a 5-point deduction for Stig v Rob, as was the 3-point deduction. Either way, we're on board with Stig v Rob at the start then. This was the lights out at Suzuka. There they go. Stig v Rob didn't get the best of launches unlike he normally does. He's been getting really good launches off the line recently. So that's going to be quite annoying to him that he didn't. He did end up in the lead though. And then, as there goes SDM getting pushed up by Ash Vinny. How does he get past Ash Vinny? Does Ash Vinny make a mistake? I think he might do. Just coming through, yep, there he goes, drifts off wide. Ash Vinny loses it onto the gravel, and there we go, into the lead goes Stig v Rob. So simple move, just kept it clean at the start, which is kind of what you want at races like Suzuka. You want things like that. Now we're on board with Razor Tear, not just on board, but we're on his helmet cam after the lights out sequence. We'll see how does he fare off the start. Got a decent launch this time. It's a bit hit and miss with Razor Tear's starts. Behind him you can see in his camera, got a shuffling for position everywhere. He goes around the outside of Melons, gets very close to that disastrous amount of AstroTurf on that outside. You touch it. Brownie's going all sideways. Razor Tear just sticks it in, no hold back. And then that's when he gets sandwiched by Helgast going down the inside. Fair move, Razor Tear almost ended up off the track there, as you can just watch behind. There goes Squeaker's pushing him off, and there goes Ash Vinny as you just saw on the side of your screen. Helgast is just in front of him at this point, so we ended up in the 6th. I can't quite remember where Razor started, but I don't think it was 6th. Now we're on board with someone, I'm not 100% sure. This is Frosty. We're on board with Extra Frosty off the light. So he didn't get the best of starts. The top 4 started to pull away from him a bit. Comes around turn 1. He's fine. He's got no one around him. He comes into turn 2. He has a look on Brownie. Then gets hit up the rear, which causes him to go in again. Crazy goes flying through. Tear goes flying through. Squeakers goes flying. Oh, look. Have they just sandwiched him going 3 wide into the ACT? Nearly ends on the grasses. That could have ended badly. Squeakers sort of cuts the corner there, but then I think Frosty has a little room, pushes Squeakers off. Yes, it's confirmation. Frosty does stop and slow down to let him back, Squeaker's back on. We don't see where Squeaker's is in all of this. Now, anyway, he starts to accelerate, so... SHARE then, on the helmet cam, we jump straight back into the action. The brother of the Subaru, very similar cars between the Subaru WRX and the Mitsubishi Lancer. Does SHARE have a look down the inside of the spoon? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Crazy shot, tear the door. Tear's like, oh, thank you. I will accept myself in your door. And Tear, easy move there for SHARE. He moves himself up another position and into 4th place. So, SDM, long live. These two don't normally go wheel to wheel, but they are on this occasion. Here comes SDM charging into the final parts of the lap. Helgas does have a look around the outside, but it's not enough to get himself in front. Extra Frosty comes into the pit. Multiple cars look to be coming into the pits here. Long live Helgas comes into the pits. Let's see, what does Crazy Buttocks do? Rested did pit in. He was one of the first drivers to pit in, as was SDM. Don't think he'll get to the end. Crazy Buttocks into the pits then. BJ28 in the Toyota. He is also in the pit. So then into the pits come a series of drivers. Extra Frosty, Long Live Helgas, Crazy Buttocks, BJ28. There are, I think, a few others. That leaves SDM and SHARE, who pitted in first. They were the first ones to pit in of anyone. No one pitted before them. And they're putting around lap 4. I don't think they'll make it to the end. They will have to make another pit stop. Here comes... Is that Extra Frosty coming out of the pits just in front of Brownie SV? Melon has also made his way to the pit lane. Long Live Helgas comes out the pits. He's behind Stig V Rob. Crazy Buttocks comes out the pit now. He's found his way just in front of Ashvini. Melon's coming in to the pit lane. Here comes BJ28. He's behind Crazy Buttocks and Ashvini. So will he be able to close up that gap now on this stint and make the positions that he needs to do well in these races now? Here comes Stig V Rob charging his way around the S's. We watch Brownie here come all the way up through Dunlop and heading into the Degners. Slightly obvious. So here comes Brownie SV into the Degners. Extra Frosty's in third, just up in front in his Hyundai Genesis. In the background there, you can just see Stig V Rob, Brownie's title rival. The McLaren versus the Mercedes go wheel to wheel for the championship. However, at the moment, number 11 or number 10, it's Brownie SV versus Extra Frosty. This could be an interesting battle, but Extra Frosty hasn't yet pitted. Brownie SV has. He pitted a couple of laps ago. I wonder if Brownie's going to do some mega fuel saving like he's good at and make his way till the end of this race. It would be something to keep an eye out on. So then, as we're back to the race, we're back still here with the race, and we watch Crazy go through in the run into Spoon Curve with Ashvini just behind him, BJ28 just behind him. There's a bit of a gap, but they're not a million miles away from each other on the track, and we could definitely see some fighting going on because that's what we all want to see in these races. So then, here comes Crazy then. He's flying down the straight. Next corner is 130R. 130R is an amazing corner, and although the name may sound unusual, 130R, it's actually, the name originally comes from the 130 radius turn that it originally was. I'm not sure if it has been changed since to the double apex corner that it is now, but it was originally a 130 radius turn, and it's in some cars it's really high speed, and you need to get it right, especially in these cars, because they don't have the downforce to go flat out like Formula 1 cars do. You really have to sort of get it right to get the best line going into that chicane, which you can make an overtake on, so it's quite crucial. So there's a little fun fact about the corner 130R. It is one of the greatest corners on the planet. I think it's a fantastic corner. It's one of the best corners on the game. It's iconic. And here we go then, watching Crazy go around these S's now, followed by Ashvini in the Aston Martin. The Mitsubishi versus the Aston Martin then. BJ28 is in 9th place. This is looking like a good race. For some drivers, Crazy was up at the front. I think he's made a couple of errors. Ashvini though, he started on the front row and has just been falling back. It's not by the grace. Crazy's off, because he is going slow, and I think he's had an incident going round to the exit of Dunlop and in the run into Degners. Crazy has gone off and has dropped 2 positions behind both Ashvini and BJ28, who is just edging out in front now. Ashvini starting to pull away. Stig V Rob in the run into Spoon. Brownie also in that run into Spoon. Frosty's midway through Spoon. Trey's coming down the back straight into 130R. And SDM's just coming out of 130R and into the chicane now. Flying around the chicane. Now it looks like, looking at the fuel, SDM might need to make a pit stop this lap. SHARE, will he also need to make a pit stop? I'm not sure. They did pit in the same lap, and there it is. There's confirmation. SDM peels off from the race lead into the pits. He's not going to rejoin in the race lead. Here comes Race Day into the pits. Also, Extra Frosty might have put himself on the optimal strategy because he might be able to go to the end, pitted just a lap ago. So he's definitely going to have the fuel and the tyre grip to go to the end of this race. And with Brownie SV moving up in a second, where does SDM come out? Does SDM come out ahead of Brownie SV or behind? It's difficult to tell, but I think Brownie has come out in front of SDM, which is okay for him, but obviously Brownie's gonna enjoy that. SDM less so. He was leading this race, and now Extra Frosty looks to stand a chance of taking the win here. In the final 4 laps or so of this race, it looks as though Extra Frosty is in the prime position to go on and win his maiden IGTL victory. Now he's looking good on that one stop. Ashvini 7th place, Bidrova 28 8th place. What can these two do? These two don't really race wheel to wheel, but Ashvini's had somewhat of a disastrous race. Robbo's just hoping on keeping the position, I'm sure, because he started right down at the back. In fact, as was expected, some of this happened a lot this season, is by the time he gets out the first corner, Robbo's usually the driver who's always at the back, and there goes Helgast. He's spun coming across the Degners. He's just pushed the limits of the car too far, and there he goes off into the gravel trap. He's found the sandcastles, but you're not supposed to go to the seaside. You're meant to be racing around Suzuka. Here comes Bidrova 28 then as we go on board with Ashvini. Robbo having a look down the inside and the exit because Ashvini got a very slow line. Just slightly, I think, may have overshot the hairpin. Got a very slow line. Here comes Robbo then flying round. It's a spoon. Ashvini on the back of him as we watch the back of the Aston Martin. Sure, there's not going to be a move on Spoon, but when you get if you need to get a good exit out of this corner, and it's not the easiest of corners to nail, but you can get a good exit, and you need a good exit here if you want any chance of making an overtake, because you can get yourself alongside and possibly to make the move going into 130R, before 130R, that little straight section just before it, or if you can stay close to them afterwards, you can get a move done going into the chicane. Stigley robbing the pits, Ashvini goes off. Stigley robbing the pits, but Ashvini, I think, went off. That has cost him a lot of time. Rezate moves now up into 4th place. Here's Ashvini. Where's Ashvini? Is he holding off against Bidrova 20? He is, but it's very close now. I think Ashvini just made a slight error at 130R. Robbo just applying the pressure. He knows that you can just apply the pressure. It's a race like Suzuka. Here comes Stigley, roll out the pits, and where does Stig fit into all this? He's just in front. I think Ashvini trying to go around the outside of him. Post onto the outside. Here Robbo comes down the inside. Robbo down the inside, and he's made it into 6th place. That's a good move from BJ Robbo 20. He's been lying in waiting. Ashvini'd been going wide at many corners, and he used that to strike. Stig v Rob must have played a pivotal part, because I don't think if Stig v Rob was there, I don't think Ashvini would have made that error and driven himself off wide off the track. So I'm probably believing that Stig v Rob may have played a critical part in deciding this battle. BJ 28 now in front of Ashvini. He looks to be holding the gap. Here comes Ashvini into the gravel trap. He has also found the sandcastles. Not as mild spin happy as Long Live Helgast when he did his. Crazy Buttocks comes around in 9th place now, just behind Long Live Helgast. He'll want to make the position up at the end of the race. We've had a decent race here as it's coming toward the close, as is the season. We've got just Le Mans at the Circuit de la Sarthe, the title decider. They're looking like there to be many championship battles, but what we need to decide is the gap between Extra Frosty and SDM RRDZ. SDM is looking good. Can he win his second race? He's into second, but what's the gap between him and Frosty? Is it close enough for SDM to go for it toward the very end of this race? Watching Crazy Buttocks trying to launch himself out of this corner here. He's in 9th place, wanting to launch himself out the corner onto the back of Long Live Helgast. Here comes Ashvini then down the straight in the Aston Martin, unloading the Aston Martin power as we ride on board with Long Live Helgast through 130R. I think there's just a slight tap on the brakes there through the 130R corner into the chicane, and Ashvini losing a lot of time there. Helgast right onto the tail of him, getting a good run out the final corner. Ashvini in the pits. Ashvini for a late pit stop. He might just want to sack it and go for a fastest lap point now. He fits onto fresh tyres. We're in the very closing stages of this race. We're in the dying embers of this Suzuka race. As here we are. We've Long Live Hellgas just held it off against Crazy Buttocks. Extra Frost is being gained on by SDM on the penultimate lap. Could we see a final lap sprint to the finish line to win this race here at Suzuka, which would be a fitting end to a brilliant race? As we've seen here, is out the exit of the hairpin, wanting to close down. Strap yourselves in, because we could be in for an immense final lap. Finally got my words right there. So there goes Extra Frosty then. He leads still, but just over SDM, and I think SDM might be closing in that gap. I'm intrigued to see the fuel load on Extra Frosty and to wonder, is Extra Frosty fuel saving? It might be that Extra Frosty might just saving fuel, and that's why he's lost so much time to SDM. Here comes Stick v Rob. He's behind Racer Tate, and he needs these positions because as many points as he can get when fighting for the championship. Extra Frosty comes through 130R. SDM also comes through 130R. Look, just how much he's gained up there. Is Extra Frosty fuel load. Now Frosty on the softs, whereas SDM on the mediums. They'll both be able to go to the end, as we've just got this one flying lap. It's difficult to tell a moment. I think Frosty weaving down the straight. He moves over to the inside to try and protect himself. He goes back to the outside. He's weaving down the straight to break the slipstream. Gets on the driving line. Flies it through turn 1. He's not quite close enough. His SDM to go over it. He's gone out wide. He's gone out wide. He's got it straddled over the AstroTurf at the exit of turn 1. And that's lost him a lot of time to Extra Frosty. And that could prove catastrophic. SDM's going to need to gain that time now that he's lost at turn 1. If he wants to have any thought of winning this race, which is possible, he can gain. He's looking in flying form coming around here at the circuit here now at Suzuka. He's looks quick. He managed to grab pole position. He's looking quick. He's got fastest lap, but can he seal the deal? Can he get a hat trick? Pole position, fastest lap, and the race win. It's not quite a grand slam. He's not led every single lap, which is very frustrating for him. Here comes SDM. He's mounting an attack, goes around the inside on the exit of Degner's, and he's made the move going into the King, leads into the hairpin. SDM into the lead in the final lap. He's got very little time he needs left to defend. He's looking a little squirmy though on the exit of the hairpin. Frosty's Genesis looks planted on the straights, but SDM's Viper is also looking strong. Here we go then, SDM and Extra Frosty flying round into Spoon for the final time on this final lap, and Frosty may have just yet again lost out another victory, which is going to get really annoying for him now. So here comes Ashwini. Here comes Ashwini. SDM comes round into the final part of the lap now. Melon on the back of Ashwini. Is he going to want to go for the overtake? Long Live Hellgas in 7th, 8th place, Crazy Buttocks now. SDM then, Extra Frosty goes out wide and into the chicane for the final time. SDM is a race leader, and it looks like Frosty might be going slow, and so coming around the final corner in only his second ever IGTL appearance, SDM, you are a race winner. Extra Frosty piles himself home in second. Strong performance from him, good strategy in the end. Brady SV going slow. Brady SV's run out of fuel across the line. He cruises into third, just in front of his title rival Steve V. Robert comes up in 4th. 5th place is Racer Tay. Beacher 28 comes up in 6th. 7th will be Crazy Buttocks in the end, as Beacher 28 comes across the line now into 6th. A strong performance from him yet and again. More points for Beacher 28. Crazy's down in 7th. Hellgas is just there in 8th place. There is Ashwini, truly disappointing, starting 2nd, finished 9th, and there's Melon, who's had a very quiet race. He went off at the start. I'm sure he just struggled to get himself back into the race, but he's obviously 10th, and he drops further behind BJ Robert 28 in the championship. Is going to need to beat him at Le Mans if he wants 7th place in the championship. It is possible, it's just not going to be very easy. And someone who we've not even mentioned since the start is Squeakers. Yes, he has been in this race. He's just been cruising around quite some distance behind everyone. He's yet another race to forget for Squeakers. He's just racking them up now. But all eyes are on SDM as he wins the penultimate round of the IGTL season here in this championship. He wins the penultimate round just in front of Frosty. You two put on a good show, leaving it to the last lap. Strong performance from SDM. He did really well, but will he win again in the International GT League? Here we are then on board with the fastest lap, and as I said, it was SDM who picked up a magical hat-trick here. He got the win, he got pole position, and he got fastest lap, so I shall just leave you now with the fastest lap around Suzuka. A fantastic lap from our new race winner, SDM RRDZ. A good drive from him, and that's a 158.826 from him. Your official confirmation that SDM won with Extra Frosty second, Brownie third. SDM did also pick up the fastest lap. Squeakers was unable to finish as he finished after the race timer was over. Rest ended up fifth, ahead of his closest rival in the championship, Long Live Helgast. So, Steg after penalties leaves only 3 points between him and Brownie, and Helgast and Frosty are equal on points. Alex after large can lose 6th place in the last race to Robbo. Melon will have to defend against SDM. Crazy, Squeakers, Lookman and Hooby Shooby can all change positions in the championship as well.